Hey everybody, it's Matt from Akuma Mods. Today we're going to be replacing the LCD screen on the Hieha sq1. Now, as you guys can see, I've already gotten rid of the old screen because it was busted. This is actually a return printer that I got, and that was one of the issues with it. So we're going to end up replacing it with one that they sent us from China. So that's why this is taking so long. I've had this printer for about 2 months now, and it's just been kind of sitting here doing nothing because of that screen. But anyway, without further ado, let's get on to it. So there's 4 screws in the corner here that we're going to take out, which we've already done. 1, 2, 3, and 4. That'll have the ability to lift up the screen. Now, when you lift this up, lift it up just a little bit like this, because this ribbon cable will be attached to this, I guess, pipeline, whatever you want to call it. And you don't want to rip that off and damage this ribbon cable, okay? So let's just say we already disconnected the cable from the ribbon cable for the LCD screen. Now we're going to go ahead and remove our Z stepper motor, and we're going to remove our infrared sensor. That's going to be for the top there. And this is pretty much the only piece we're going to need. So this, we can set this back off to the side. We don't really need it anymore. All the stuff that we need is right here. So on this, there's going to be 3 screws. 1, 2, and 3. Now these are the same size screws, so you can use the same size Allen key for the top of the case as for the bottom of this little pipeline thing. Hood, whatever you want to call it. There's 2 and number 3. Now, as you're taking this out, you might want to prop this up, or if you want, you can do that one last. But still, the issue that you're going to have, there's a magnifying glass, or piece, I should say. It's not really even glass, it's plastic. That'll fall through, so just be careful of that. So here's our hood, and then our magnifying glass. Okay, so this is where all the magic happens from the little tiny UV ray. So all we're basically going to be doing is setting this in. This is a little different than most of the resin printers that you're going to be working on, where usually you have some strips or something that are on the bottom of this, and then you tack it into place. This is different, where you actually use the supplied, I'm not exactly sure why, but copper tape, and you basically just seat it on the corners here, and that's how you you get this all set up and ready to go. So it's a little different than what most people are used to, but in any way, we'll get it up and running here. All right, so that basically sits in there. So as you can see, there's quite a lot of wiggle room on it. There's a lot of space, so it looks like another screen will fit in there. I did try using like an Elegoo Mars screen or an Anycubic Photon screen. Unfortunately, this screen is just slightly different model number than the Anycubic or the Elegoo Mars. So just keep that in mind if you have this unit. Unfortunately, you're going to have to go through the Hieha supplier, which you're going to have to get it from China. So it is going to take a little while for it to get here because it is going through China Post. And just wanted to let you guys be aware of that. Really, that's the only place that I know of currently that has that place for these. So what we're going to do is we'll tip this back up. So now we've got everything seated in here pretty well. We're going to go ahead and put back in our little screen here. This one seems like it might have some resin on it, so we might have to clean it off a little bit. Let's clean it off with a shirt here. Maybe it wasn't resin. That's coming off a little too easy to be resin. And either way, You want to make sure it's nice and clean, not too many fingerprints on it, because obviously we're going to be needing this to emit the light properly on it. So we want to make sure that it's fairly clean and not too badly fingerprinted up. Okay. So now we're going to go ahead and seat that into place. And then we're going to go ahead and attach our hood back on. I know you guys are probably going to yell at me for saying hood, but that's the only word I can think of right now off the top of my head for it. Alright, so I'm doing this in this order because then I can let it flow. And that way I don't have to worry about holding on to it and making sure that it's not sliding this way or that way. Okay, there's 2 and number 3. So, and obviously what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to test this out. Make sure everything's working before you start adding these these copper strips down. It's so weird to me. I'm sorry. I guess you could use really any type of tape you want, but they supplied the copper tape. It did have copper tape on it when it came to me, and if you look online at the sq1 of photos of it, there is also copper tape showing on it. So just giving you a heads up, that's not something that's been added on. It's something that they've always done. So now what we're going to do, we're going to bring the base back up here. And then we're going to hook up everything just as it was. So we'll hook back in our little sensor in here, which is right there. We'll hook up our stepper motor, Z-axis stepper motor. Okay, make sure that's nice and tight. Now the tricky part is getting this all seated and properly set up to where you're not crimping on this this ribbon cable. So that's the tricky part here, is you got to kind of finagle with it a little bit and get it all set up. So let's see if we can do this with our free hands. Don't think that's properly seated, but we'll see. Okay. So it looks like everything's good. And then once you're putting it back in, you want to make sure that the array of lights are clear of any type of wires or any ribbon cables, anything that would get in the way of the light emitting properly. So once we get it all set up here, you can go ahead and set it all up. Let's get this powered on. Okay. We'll get that all seated in there once it's done. Now, I'm not 100% sure that this will work right out of the box because I did have some issues where there's a loose wire of the LED array. So it might not work on the first try. I might have to finagle it. But that's pretty much the gist of what you need to do to make sure that your system is running and working and everything is in good working order. So I'm going to turn off the lights here really quick, and we're going to see if we could get some light shining through here. Hopefully it'll work on the first try here. Aha. So there we are. We have the light emitting properly on it. Okay, so now we have our new screen all set up, ready to rock and roll. So that's pretty much it. Pretty straightforward on this unit. I haven't really worked on any other one, but I got the Anycubic Photon S that will need a LCD repair as well. So we'll be doing that one as probably sometime next week, because it's in town, but it's still moving through the post office. So, but yeah, that's pretty much it. Straightforward. Not really much to say about anything else, but if you guys like the video, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Go ahead, subscribe if you like. And I hope to bring you some more videos and how-to and all kinds of different stuff on resin printing. Until then, happy printing, guys.